Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome along to the live Wedding Help podcast. We are at the Culloden Hotel this afternoon. It is a live podcast, and we're going to welcome in and introduce, our guests. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome our guest that's here, Yvonne Kavanagh, Spiritual Ceremonies. Give her a big hand. Mark Barnes, Photography. Give Mark a big hand. Leanne from Babyblocks, Bridal. Eugene from the Wedding Dressers. And Kim Alexandra here. And Torta, give them a big hand.
Don't always just sort of go chasing the cheapest vendor. You know, do your research, make sure that they're well reviewed, make sure they come with a great reputation, you know, speak to friends who've got married before. And more importantly, though, if they're available, you gel with them and they're the right fit for you, get them booked. That would be, you know, don't always just chase something because there's a special offer or a flash sale on would be my advice.
Just there in relation to wedding trends and budgets, and I know myself and Donna from Wedding Dressers Ireland, our prices include travel, so we've got our prices set in stone right through to 2028. So our couples who are booking in now and are booking right through, and we're even getting inquiries in for 2029, know exactly how much they're paying for a top service. Again, Donna has this award-winning seamstress with 40 plus years experience. My background is being operational on the wedding day in properties, looking after couples on their wedding day. So I can see what happens from both perspectives, and we can do the event coordination as well as part of a package. So we can operate and look, we can be the extra set of eyes and ears that the couple need, that they can have their stress-free day, but ensure that the couple are paying for that stress-free day. We're not here to do something for nothing. We're all highly skilled and intelligent individuals that we have to know our value to deliver our product to the guests and to our couples, because that's what they are. They are our couples that we are looking after to ensure that they are getting the day of their dreams.
Can I just add, when couples choose to have a celebrant-led ceremony, really value. Yes, they look at value, but what's more important is choosing a celebrant that's right for them. There are so many different types of celebrant now, and we all do a great job. We all do the same job, only differently. But there are some things that you have to consider. You have to consider, one, can your celebrant legally marry you? Can they do the job that you're expecting them to do? You have to find out, do you gel with them? Are they going to listen to you and give you what you want on your day? Are they going to just follow a prescribed set of guidelines that they have? Or are they going to be genuinely invested in your happiness, your day, and giving you the ceremony that you want? You know, so it's not all just about getting a really good deal or getting something that's, you know, really affordable. You have to get something that's really catered and tailored for you, and will tell your story in the way that you want it to be, because it's the best day of your life. You know, you want to be standing there with someone that you trust, someone who has your back. I always say to my couples that I try my best to make their ceremony the least stressful part of their day. So I'm going to have them coming into their ceremony, and my goal is to have them not having to remember anything so they won't forget anything. And I will tell them when to stand up, sit down, turn around, and point out which finger to put the ring on. You know, it's like when they come in, if I'm your celebrant, you come into that ceremony, I've got you, you know. And many of my colleagues and friends in the wedding industry and celebrants, they have the same ethos, you know, but there's so much choice. You need to kind of have a chat. Don't be afraid to talk to celebrants. Don't be afraid to put an inquiry in. Get a quote, consider the quote, have a good conversation, have a good stalk on the socials and the reviews, and then find somebody who really suits you and is going to do the best job for you. And like what you said, you need somebody who's genuinely invested in your happiness on your day, you know, to make it the best that it can be. Yeah.
I suppose the other thing as well with couples, whenever they're inquired, and maybe even beyond the booking stage, contracts and stuff, is there stuff that couples should be looking out for? Maybe red flags and stuff on that as well, you know, maybe a camera doesn't know up a deposit or stuff like that. Is there a red flags that couples should be looking for?
Every vendor should have a contract, and it's not only to protect us as vendors, but it's also to protect the couple. So myself and Donna, as the wedding dressers, we will have a contract. We have additional insurance. I know that Donna, with our seamstress work, has insurance for sewing dresses. So whenever Donna is receiving a dress for alterations, and I know her diary is closed at the moment until she retires in 2028, she will sign that dress in, but she'll also sign that dress out. And I know that there are seamstresses in the room who do that, but there's some that don't. And I always ask the question, what if something happens? You always need a dress covered. If you've offered a storage facility, your dress has to be insured for that storage facility. Therefore, there will be a charge for storage. But we need to tighten in on our contracts to ensure that everybody, to a certain extent, is singing off the same hymn sheet. So we're getting a contract, we're getting the contact details, we're getting points of contact. Not just one person's name, but another person's name, two telephone numbers, email addresses, bits and pieces like that as well. So even on the day, if I'm doing an event coordination of the day, I will have met the couple prior. I will have emergency contacts on the day as well. And I will have what I class as my Bible with me. So it'll be names of everybody. That if I need to go and pick somebody's brains or go, do you know what, Mary Jo over there is messing about, she needs her wings clipped and she needs taken out of the room, well, who's going to do that? Yeah. So I need to know who is who, but we also as vendors need to know who the people are that we're dealing with. But we're not being fussy by getting them to sign a contract, and we need to promote the fact that we're getting contracts to protect them, but in the long run to protect us.
Just touching base on the insurance and that there, I know for me personally, I need to have my insurance. I also have to have a health and hygiene inspection, so I have my rating. On top of that, you need your allergen training as well. I've come across a lot of couples and they've said their granny are making the cake or their auntie are making the cake, and that is absolutely lovely. But you do need to check with your venue, because some will not accept it because they don't have their health and hygiene, they don't have their insurance, they don't have their allergen training as well. So that is another thing that you do need to sort of look into as well. And it is a lovely thought. So it is, and some venues have absolutely no issue with that, but you will come across some that are just like, hell no. And it's covering them if anything was to happen, if the cake was to be dropped or, you know, God forbid somebody gets sick, not necessarily down to the cake, but they always go, it was the last thing I ate, when it could have been what they ate that morning. But that's just, and that a lot of people don't take that into consideration, and it's not us trying to push for that booking. Like, we're just looking out for your well-being and your safety as well. And then it's not coming to the day and your auntie or your granny's rocking up with this cake and the venue are like, no, and then you don't have a cake. So I would say just look into that well in advance, and if the venues are all for it, then that's fine.
With celebrants, we all have our own insurance as well, but we also have a backup plan, because if your celebrant can't make it on the day, you don't get married. Yeah. So most organisations will have a plan. I know ours in Spiritual Ceremonies, we don't book 100%. We don't book 100% out. So there'll always be a few on reserve, and if anything happened, if somebody met with an untimely demise or an accident or something happened on the day, we guarantee a celebrant will turn up and be at your ceremony to marry you. So that's very important, and a question that we often get asked.
No, I suppose I can touch on it from a photography perspective. Obviously, I pay a lot of money for professional indemnity insurance, public liability insurance, and you'll maybe get one or two couples every year that will ask you, you know, what happens, Mark, if the photographs don't turn out? And obviously, with the kind of technology now of digital cameras, when I take a photograph on a day, it's recorded to two memory cards simultaneously. And I remember ringing my insurance company before and saying, see, with professional indemnity insurance, have you ever had to pay out on that? And they said, once. And I says, well, why does that work? And they says, well, none of the photographs turned out, and basically we had to foot the bill for a full wedding again. You know, so imagine trying to tell your friends and family here, remember last Saturday? Going to do that again in a few weeks. So yeah, I suppose it's a question that people don't really ask, and Yvonne even touched on it there. if you were to fall ill, like nobody knows if they're going to fall ill before someone's wedding. Thankfully, touch wood, in 22 years I've never fallen ill for a wedding. But that being said, as I said, a lot of friends here, not only within the Wedding Help NI platform, where there's a lot of talented photographers. I used to serve as president for the PPANI, which is Northern Ireland's longest professional photography body. So I mean, I have so many backup options if I was to fall ill that I could turn to, at least 10 super talented photographers at the drop of a hat.
I just wanted to touch base about really hair and makeup and why, choosing someone based on price isn't necessarily the way to go, because you need to make sure when you're looking at this person's Instagram, their TikTok, their Facebook, like, is that how you want to look? You're booking someone because of how they do hair. But also, like, how do they make you feel? So I do a discovery call with all of my brides. Nobody books without me doing this call. So we can make sure we both pass the vibe check. Like, am I the person that's going to sort your wedding day? I create timelines. It's not just about booking a hairdresser to do a job or a makeup artist to do a job. It's everything that they offer. And that's the thing that you get value. So quite a lot of my brides have actually come back and said, you actually helped me plan my wedding, because I have people that I've worked with numerous times that I'm like, this person's class if you need this person's class. And like one of my brides last year, literally everyone I recommended, she booked, and her wedding went off like a dream because everybody was there, had worked together and had these amazing relationships. And that's what it's about. It's about you making sure you book people that fill your day with everything that you want. And, yes, it's either in your budget or it's not in your budget. But if it's not in your budget, there are other options. So don't be afraid to reach out to people and talk to them about their budget and, see what's a good fit for you, because I truly believe people book people that they like.
Yep.
And I couldn't imagine booking someone just off a picture and having never spoke to them before.
I just wanted to touch on the insurance. But coming from a child protection, if you are booking a wedding nanny or anybody that's going to be left with sole responsibility of your children, you should definitely make sure they've access NI and paediatric first aid. Yeah. They're two of the sort of basic minimum standards that I would class as, and as then you have your public liability insurance, and I have special car insurance if I was ever transporting the children. But some people forget to ask about the access NI and the paediatric first aid. People still don't look as wedding nanny as a necessity. So we are the people that would be booking out from 6 months. At least last year it was like that. I now have weddings in for 2028. So it's becoming a lot more popular now, definitely.
Really, for hair, if you found a hairdresser that you love, message them and get them booked. That's the most important thing. Like, I've actually turned down 20 weddings for the next 18 months because I'm already booked on their date. But as a bride, we actually started, Alan didn't propose until Boxing Day. But we actually booked our wedding last year, and we booked our wedding date around Mark and Danielle's availability. I literally messaged them both and said, tell me what Friday you're available in May 2027. And they came back with 2 dates. And he was like, what do you mean you don't have a venue? And I'm like, yeah, the venue's flexible. Yeah. So the main thing is, if you see a supplier that does the thing you want, get them booked now. Because it breaks my heart when I have to say no to curly people, because I am the only one in the country that is a curl specialist and a bridal stylist. When a bride books me, I prep her hair all the run up to her wedding. I prep her hair the day before the wedding, and I make sure her curls are perfect. And yes, there are other stylists that can do curly hair, but they don't do what I do. So when you're the only one in the country that does something, it's heartbreaking when you have to say no to people. And I have said no to 20 people over the next 18 months. And it does actually really upset me, but there is only me.
Yeah, thanks for the shameless plug there. Can we slip you a tenner after? There's nothing more flattering as a wedding vendor when somebody books their wedding around your schedule. I'm actually currently dealing with someone at the minute who's pinged their fair date over to say, are you available for this? And I'm still not available. And it's getting to that awkward stage of being like, how many times do you do this before you're like, right, Mark, we're not going with you. But yeah, as Kim touched on, if you find the right vendor and their diary is open, whether it be 2027, 2028, get them booked right away. There's nothing more heartbreaking from my perspective When you speak to a wonderful couple, they tell you all their plans, and then it gets to the date and you're like, yeah, I'm already booked. And with personal services such as the likes of hair, makeup, celebrant, photographer, videographer, on like your room styling companies, on like your car companies, we can only be in one place in one day. So when that date is booked, we are gatekeeping that for you. It's exclusive. And I think that's something that we don't touch on enough, that if we book a Saturday in June in 2028, we are holding on to that for the next 2 years, you know. And even with Kim saying that you booked around my diary, which is so flattering, I've probably turned away already 4 or 5 weddings for that date. So it's so important as well to get in nice and early. And yeah, as I say, I use that across the board. If there's someone you gel with, there's someone you resonate with, and you want them to be part of your day, then get the deposit paid, get them secured, and go about enjoying the rest of your wedding planning process.
Yeah, I would say the same with celebrants. Like, there are plenty of celebrants, but we do book up really, really quickly. And for our company, what happens is when somebody puts in an inquiry and they put in their venue and they put in their date, they get an automatic quote back. And that'll include travel for the celebrant that they've selected. But that date is then held for 14 days in our diaries to give us time to have a chat. So there's no obligation on you to pay a deposit until you've actually spoken to your celebrant. But I would urge couples to speak to your celebrant. Use that time, because we can't hold the dates longer than that.
Yeah.
You know, and now sometimes I'm a bit of a softie now. I will reach out to people and say, do you want me to hold that for a little bit longer? We haven't had a chat yet. And if we've put in a date to talk in the next couple of weeks, I can put a hold on it, you know. But more often than not, couples will let that go, and then they'll come back in a couple of months' time and say, hi, Yvonne, sure, I put in an inquiry, and I said, your date is gone. I'm sorry, you know. So choose your key people early. Choose the dates if they're available. Talk to them soon, and then put a deposit on. Secure your date, and then don't worry about it. Then everything else will fall into place closer to the day. But if you have your venue, you have your date, get the people that you really want boxed up, deposits paid, and sorted early.
With regards to wedding dressing, what we're finding is that people are perhaps booking the base package to start with, and putting their deposit down, and then that's it, it's blocked in. But closer to the wedding day itself, perhaps wedding presents are flowing in, so therefore they'll upgrade their package and spend more money with us. But what we're also finding is that you've got the short lead time, so we are now getting inquiries as of yesterday for the end of February. But on the flip side of that coin, we're getting inquiries right through to 2029. So you've got those people that are drawing out their wish list, and they're going photographer, videographer, hairdresser, celebrant, venue, seamstress, cake. I need a wedding dresser. And with Donna's experience and my experience, there's not too many like us in the country that can tag team in the way that we do. And then whenever we team up with Groom the Groom NI as well, we can offer a complete all-round package to cover everybody in the wedding party, to give them the experience they deserve. But again, as everybody has said, if you get the vibe from somebody, if you get the feels, and they're available on your date, get them booked in.
Yeah, so just off the back of what everybody else said, I don't know how other bakers work, but for me personally, my diary's open 2 years in advance. So you can book up right up until 2028. I have couples that have booked 2030 because they want me to book. They've secured their date, but knowing I can't actually quote you because God knows what the price of eggs and butter and flour is going to be. But they are adamant that they want to book in. It used to be like wedding season, but now it's like wedding seasons. It's all year round. So it is. And I'm only one person. I don't have a team. So when that date goes, that's it. I can't take on anymore, and I only take on a certain amount of cakes per week and per year as well. So once that's done, that's me out of the way. So if you do gel with any of your vendors, get them booked as soon as you can. Don't wait around. You probably think, oh, it's only cake, you know, they're going to be there. It's not. So as soon as you get your date, get your venue, get your seamstress, get your cake. Sorry, I'm joking. In that order. Normally might not. But yeah, no, as soon as you get your date, your venue, start getting your vendors. Don't be too laxy-daisy about it, because if you've seen somebody that you do gel with and do vibe, don't hold back. You think you might have the time, but you really don't, because as I say, some people are only one-man team, one-woman team, so you need to get it booked in ASAP.
So as a 2027 bride, that's all anyone's going to get from me. Yeah, I'm getting married, yeah. Our budget was very much based on what gave us the thing that we wanted on a day. So our wedding isn't going to be a traditional wedding. So actually, although the venue is most of our budget, it's actually minimal because we're not doing a sit-down meal. We're just doing a buffet. The vibe was, it was an engagement party that I accidentally told everyone about. So there was no surprise. But it's literally about what's important to you. Like, do you want one of the best photographers in the country? Yes. Then whatever his price is, you pay it. Don't blush. But it's literally like, what is the thing that's important to you? Like, is it important that you have your curls kept and looked amazing? Is it important that someone turns up on your day and puts you in your dress so that your mummy's not stressing? Like, what is the thing that's important? You need to sit down and work that out because everything then is built around that.
I'll read that out. Took was all the things. So the cake of holy waste is up right, yes. And it's expensive. So is there an alternative?
So I've been probably harping on at the wedding shows and that. I tell couples, whether they book with me or book with anybody else, maybe consider cutting your cake after your ceremony and serving it at your drinks reception so that there is no wastage. Make sure some goes up to your room at the end of the night because you'll be absolutely starving. And then whatever's left, you can either send it out to your buffet or take it home. When you get it home, individually portion it up, wrap it in cling film, buck it in your freezer, and there's something for a cup of tea. No cake should be going to wastage. You do also have the option of hiring like a fake cake as well, or doing part real, part fake. There's so many different ways to look at it. Talk to your cake person if you have a budget, what we can do. You don't have to have your 4 tier cake weddings. We do single tiers with like tray bakes and stuff like that there. There's something for everybody. But it is becoming now increasingly popular to cut your cake after your ceremony and serve it at your drinks reception to reduce the wastage. Like, tell your venue you're also wanting to keep it because some do tend to throw it out in the bin, and they shouldn't do. But no cake should be going to wastage. Everybody does seem to have more room for drink. I don't know why. But when it comes to food, they don't. So I always say it freezes incredibly well, provided you've wrapped it sufficiently. And I've couples that take it out on their first anniversary and get stuck in. So yeah, there's so many ways you can do it. You also don't need a cake to feed your total number of guests as well. I would go 20-25% less. It may be a bit controversial, but it also is going to save you a bit more money. You don't need to go. When I quote a cake, I tell you roughly how many portions that cake's going to feed, and you go from that based on your numbers and what would suit you. So it might be a 2-tier cake would suit you better than the 3 or 4 tier.
I think we've touched a lot there today, so thank you so much, care expert panel. Give yourselves a big hand. Thank you so much. That has been our first live one as well that we've out on Facebook. Thank you very much, guys. Cheers. Ready?